Dime lo que tú quieres de mi coqueta. Sé lo que te gusta es salir y se suelta. Cuando baila reggaetón pa' mí que muñeca. Le gusta salir y seducir. Dime lo que tú quieres de mi coqueta. Sé lo que te gusta es salir y se suelta. Cuando baila reggaetón pa' mí que muñeca. Le gusta salir y seducir.
And we're live. Welcome back to Masculine Moments. It's your boy, the one with the SkarxFace, your boy SkarxFace. And today I'm with the co-host, Jon.
What's up, guys? I took vacation. I'm back. Don't worry.
It's funny because earlier he told me right now, he's like, you're sounding a little sick, and I am. I don't even know why. But I think it's yesterday because I went to like a little, we had like a little bonfire, and probably all the smoke that was hitting my
Deeper voice day. So.
deeper voice thing. But anyways, this episode is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. It's a subscription-based box that, you know, they send you razors. You can order like facial care, hair care, skin care, all sorts of care. The one wipe Charlies. And the cool thing about it is like it's a subscription-based box. So you can put whatever you want in it. They'll send it to you monthly, and the more stuff you put into it, the bigger discount you get. So it's always nice because sometimes you forget to like add something, razors and things like that. So go and check them out. The link is going to be down below. And also, they're out there in the wild now. The chunky Chicanos. Jon has gotten some really cool ones. So
So they're off of a minting base, so we don't know when you go ahead and try to buy them. There you buy them off the website, and it mints them, so you have no clue what you're gonna get. And then from there, it takes them to OpenSea, where you can see the collection of how many have been minted. And yeah, I think I have. So there's like on the website and on Instagram, you can see after you mint them. There's like, what would you call them? Like a cheat sheet that shows you everything, how rare each piece of the
almost like a guide.
Like a guide, yeah. And the rarity on that, and I have two.
Yeah, and it's all random, so don't think that people are picking and choosing. It's all you hit mint, and whatever you get is whatever you get.
We have no control over that.
Yeah, so which is cool.
Yeah.
Because either me, for some reason I've gotten they're all bald. Like I think I'm the one that has the most hair out of all of us, and all my chunky Chicanos are bald.
Yeah.
So anyways, go check them out. The link is gonna be down below. And then we started this podcast. We're waiting on Brandon from Element. Covered, right? That's what it's called.
Yeah, we did a podcast with him. When was it? Last year?
It was sometime last year. And he's grown a lot, so we wanted to, just like chop it up with him and see where he's at now. But we're waiting for him to show up. But I thought in the meantime, Jon and I could talk a little bit about what's going on. First of all, if you guys haven't voted for us, I always link the vote. We got nominated for Best Podcast in Southeast Idaho. Once again, round 2. And so if you guys have a chance, go and vote. The voting ends the 22nd. If you vote, you can vote every day too. Some people didn't realize you can vote every day. And we would appreciate you guys' vote just because, we work hard at doing stuff like this. And we just, it'd be cool to win.
Yeah. If not, there's always next year.
If not, hopefully Kayla from True Crime Exposed wins. They have
there's four other in total 4 podcasts that are running for on the finals at least that went through, and Kayla I think is our biggest competitor at the time.
Yeah, like I was telling Jon, like if we don't win, it'd be cool for them to win, just because we know them and
they have some good stuff.
She's super cool, super outgoing, and then she has like 2 podcasts going right now, so which is I don't know how she's doing it, but because one is hard enough. So and then she has 2. So anyways, go check those out. And then hopefully here in the next month, 2 months, you guys get to see like a more permanent backdrops, permanent like studio setup. Just because we are almost done in this studio, we got like a couple months, all of June. But in June, I'm gonna start moving all the stuff from this studio into the other one. Yeah. Just to, because I'm not gonna have this one anymore.
We haven't told. We've said it before, right? The kind of setup we have, like there's nothing behind us, huh? I don't know if we mentioned that.
Yeah. It's funny because we're like, all this that you see behind us is
all that's left.
Basically all that's left in here. Like we just have like a bunch of boxes and cases on the floor. But yeah, that's basically it. And then whatever you see on the guest side it's all that's there. It's nothing crazy or wild about that.
And then you are having what did you call it? Open house to launch the new studio?
Yeah, it's more of like a get together. People keep asking me if I'm going to do anything, and you can't really do a grand opening with like a studio.
Dude, you get a ribboning.
But you know what I mean? Like you can't really do a grand opening. But so I was like, oh, let's just do like a little get together. People can come check out the studio. And then some like I bought one of those 360 photo booths, and it should be here before then. That way, I'm hoping that it's here by that here and set up and ready to go by that day. That way we can use it because
Expo it.
yeah. So that's something that we can talk about right now is getting into different type of investments. Just because there's plenty of ways to make some passive income. And this is one way that I wanted to make some more passive income because I ended up buying this one and I ended up buying another one too, which is a little bit different. And then John is building one. I don't know how long that one's
Hopefully by then it'll be ready to run too.
in June.
The goal was to have it by June.
By June.
Yeah.
So it's just like a little rental thing that we're getting into. That way we can just make some extra income because at first they might. Of course, I have to run it in the beginning too, just because I have to learn how to use it. That way, I can teach somebody else how to use it.
Yeah.
And then eventually, the goal is to have other people doing it for you. Like you just book the gig, and you're like, "Hey, this is where you got to go. This is what you got to do." And so that's my goal with that is like to create another, passive income.
We gotta practice what we preach, basically.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's just a little out of our. I think for me, it's out of my comfort zone because I don't know anything about that.
Yeah,
So learning
and
slowly.
and it's cool that we start now before because right now it's really not popular here in Idaho, and we're slow on trends. Like a lot of things that start happening, like we're really slow on, like fashion wise, trend wise, like party wise. Like right now, in the past couple years, decorating for parties has become the thing.
Yeah.
You have to hire someone like. The one we see a lot is Carlo from Bella Decor. Like she does some amazing work, and people will pay for that stuff. Like to have their parties decorated because when it's a wedding or it's a quince or whatever the case is, they're willing to pay the money. If not, they'll find padrinos, which are basically like godparents for
the sponsors, I guess, that help pay for stuff.
Yeah, so they'll end up paying for that. So, I mean. The reason I wanted to do this, because we talk about it all the time, there's millions of ways to make money, but we're already in this world.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so why not try to add something that's also in the world, in our world that we already do? That way it's easier and it's easier to get gigs. So like say someone who's not a photographer or not a videographer or not doing like events like that, it's going to be a lot harder for them to get gigs because they don't know the right people.
Yeah.
Like, we're fortunate enough that people follow us that know what we do. So say we start posting the photo booths, they're going to be like, oh shit, so-and-so has a quince coming up. Let me tell them about it, and things like that.
It's kind of like also like, I guess you could say throwing darts because if there's like a pool here and a pool there and a pool there and we're not doing a video for this pool, but we have our photo booth at this one, but we're doing the video on that one and then we're doing the photo on this one. Now it's like 3 different pools we're in instead of just like, oh, well, we're only doing photo and video for this one. And then there's the rest.
Yeah, because it sucks because the messages that we get is like, hey, can you do this event? Oh, sorry, we're booked. Hey, can you do this? No, sorry, we're booked. So instead we could also... Those are like missed opportunities, like you could be like, no, but I have this available. Like you can do this, just in case you don't want to pay your photographer, you can have a photo booth, and they'll take care of the photos there. Like, yeah, of course you're not going to have your like cake stuff and things like that, but this is more of an experience. So another reason people don't want to do it is because they don't want to invest all the money into it. Yeah. It's all a game of patience. People don't want to... And they will want to invest the money, but then they'll want it back right away.
Yeah, it's the hard part.
But they don't realize like within like 4 or 5 events, this 360 booth will pay itself. My other photo booth will pay itself. And that can be completed over this like the whole wedding season, quince season. Yeah, it's a little later than I would like just because, I got into it later than we thought. But that just like pushing it because it doesn't necessarily have to be quinces or weddings or things like that. You can do like corporate events. Because I've seen that a lot of corporate like events will hire this just have it there, like, even at the fair and things like that. So you can get into everywhere. It's just like how hard you're gonna push it, promote it, and things like that. So if you guys are thinking, it's cool because like when we get messages saying that, hey, like you guys inspired us to do this, because I tell them all the time like we can only do so much. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, it comes down to that person. Like if we can like spark that interest, be like, oh shit, I want to start an LLC. Or hey, I want to start a business. Cool. Like you have to do it. And then it's up to you. Like we can only be like help so much, like educate so much. Like the cool thing about the podcast is that we do talk about like things like that. So you can get an idea of like which path you should take, what you should do. Like, cause it's not easy. I mean, we still learn all the time. Like we still learn. We're no business professionals. We're no business gurus. Like we're learning as we go. But that's the only way to learn.
And then you meet people down the road too that kind of guide you.
Yeah, you'll meet the right person.
Yeah, networking is the biggest, I think.
Yeah.
Just because the more people you meet, so if you're like socially awkward, try to fix that first before you start getting in the industry, because it does help being a little more like social in any aspect. Because if you can talk, like show up to an event, you talk to the DJ, and you become friends with the DJ will remember you next time. Or you'd be like, oh, I'm looking for so-and-so. I'm like, oh, yeah, these guys from blah, blah, blah. And then, or you talk to the wedding coordinator, and then you work good with them and blah, blah. It just like webs out to everything.
Yeah, it's funny because some of the stuff that because I'm always researching a lot of things before I even purchase anything. So this whole 360 booth, trust me, I watched hours and hours and hours of videos, research, like how much things cost, like what are the do's and don'ts, because I want to know what things I could run into. And so what some people do, this is why like people don't want to invest the money. They'll just buy the 360 booth and run it. Because my original plan was like to get the 360 booth and just run my slow-mo camera.
Yeah.
But to come to find out, like you can do that, but you're gonna almost devalue the experience. Instead of doing like getting the actual app, which is kind of fucking pricey, getting the app, and then after getting the app, like adding all these other things. Like I got that backdrop, I got the lights, I got the.
I really like the backdrop, dude.
The iPad, I got a TV, I got a TV stand, I got like you name it, all sorts of stuff. Props, I bought some props for it just to give. So when people like actually get on it, it's an experience, and then they'll be like, oh shit, like this is what it's supposed to be like. So if anything else less than this is not the same. So let's go with this person. That's why I was like, let me not devalue the experience in the beginning. Because say you do like it the cheaper way, right? And then right away they're gonna be like, yeah, it was okay, you know, it's pretty fun, but it wasn't the greatest. Then that starts to carry over. But if you offer this big experience where they're just like, that was
like dang
badass,
or they hire someone else with the same thing, and they're like, oh, well, we thought it came with this, this, and this, and this, and they ruin the experience too.
Yeah, so
which is better for you.
So people get an idea how it's going to work, right? So I have a backdrop. If you guys haven't followed me on social media, you should follow us. The link's always in the description. You know, I link the link tree. It has John's, it has mine, it has the podcast. So go follow us there. But I was posting like the backdrop. So it's going to be a backdrop, really cool backdrop, because you can use it for not just the 360. You can use it for photo shoots, videos. You know, shout out to, well, I won't say who it is, but they messaged me saying that they wanted to do some team videos in there. So like you could do like some smoke with those LED lights, and then almost like have the players turn around.
I have a cheap rate for that if you need to hire me for that.
You know what I mean? Like and things like that. So it's a backdrop. There's only one entrance, right? The 360 booth goes in the middle. I'm trying to paint you guys a picture. 360 booth goes around in a circle, which I know you guys seen it.
The backdrop is like a circle.
Yeah, it's like a half circle with like a door entry. LED lights on all, like a bunch of them all around, so it looks like a cool studio vibe. Like
it actually looks really nice.
And then, so the 360 goes in the middle. It's gonna have the phone attached to it, with an app, and you can put like an overlay. Like say it's John's quinceañera, you can put John's, happy quinceañera, whatever, John 2022, and things like that. And then you can put whatever song you want. It's only gonna play a little bit, but you can put whatever song you want. You talk to your client, whatever song they want to put on it. And they'll make like quick slow-mos and boomerangs. And then after it's recorded, so that's why I have the TV. So whatever's happening live, you're going to see on the TV.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be cool because people don't have to go in there. You could put the TV outside so people can see what's going on. And that's all connected to an Apple TV. So mind you, I had to buy all this stuff. So the stuff like this is not cheap. So this is when I quote people prices, know that there's a reason behind it.
Like nothing is cheap.
Yeah, no, there's a reason behind it.
And then you were telling me about you're gonna have a sharing station too.
Exactly. Yeah. So that once they view it there, it's gonna replay once on there for like a little bit, and then right underneath is gonna be an iPad, and which I also had to buy an iPad for it. And on there, it's going to show like the entire gallery, and with QR codes, you can go up to it with your phone, scan the QR code, say it's yours. You can download it onto your phone, or you can send it to yourself and things like that. So that's the only thing that is going to be difficult, just because in some places service sucks.
Yeah.
And it's all going to be hotspotted with my phone, because you can get like different hotspots, or if the event has a Wi-Fi, then you can use their Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But if not, then everything just gets sent out as soon as you connect it to Wi-Fi, kind of like you were talking about.
Yeah.
And then so that's like the whole experience. I have props. We're gonna have a prop table. We're gonna have,
Yeah. I love the TV idea. Just like having people standing outside, because people are curious all the time.
Yeah, because on the 360 thing, you have to worry about like people getting in your way. You have to worry about like somebody jumping off too early. So that's why I want to learn how to use it first. That way, because I'm gonna have people helping me with this stuff. That way, because I can't do everything. You can't do everything, and especially if you want to be making money passively. But I want to know how it functions, how it works.
Yeah.
That way, I can teach people how to, because I see us having like multiple. You know what I mean? Because right now, people are gonna be like, that's kind of weird or kind of pricey. But
Yeah.
it's
Just having them see it once. There's a lot of, especially like freaking senior citizen girls are like, oh, I want that.
Yeah.
And the parents will get whatever they want for them.
yeah, and it's cool because we're gonna have it over at John's too. At John's wedding, he's getting married in August, so it'll be there. It'll be there as well. So, but yeah, and then we also recently had an event too, which went pretty well. It was the first time all of us working as a team. I think for the most part, it went amazing.
Yeah.
We learned. So when you work with like photographers and videographers, sometimes the video guy wants to get the best shot, and sometimes the photo guy wants to get the best shot, but the video guy will be in the way, the photo guy will be in the way, and John did an event where that was the case, and, he wasn't too happy about it. But with us, it's more of like, we know not to get into each other's way, so we try our best to try to get the best shot.
Or at least think, like, oh, I see him over there and I see him over there. Sometimes it's on the, what's it called? You can't avoid it.
Yeah,
Unavoidable.
sometimes it'll happen.
But most of the time, when you actually like think things through, you can see, or you can talk to, like, I think we're gonna figure out a way to communicate, because it's a lot of us. But actually, I got feedback from someone that was there, an older person, that saw us all pull up. They're like, I don't know what you guys do. He's like, I don't know what kind of, like, this was in Spanish, obviously. I don't know what kind of call you guys give, but just with the equipment and all of you guys showing up, that had impressed someone compared to, because here there's some good photographers and stuff, but there's not really teams for events.
Because that's exactly why I wanted to do this, because just like that, like I wanted us to show up as a team, but at the same time, John and I had this conversation. I told John, I was like, you need to come up with your own brand, like that, because I don't want to tell people, this is John who works, for SkarxFace Visuals. I was like, no, this is John, aka this, which now it's what,
Magna Media
Co. So like, I'm super proud of that way, because I want everybody to grow as their own brand, not just be like, oh, hey, like you're part of. No, like we do this shit together. Like, we're a team, but like this is John, aka Magna Media Co. And this is SkarxFace Visuals. Like, but we're all like one cohesive team.
Yeah.
So same thing. I got the same feedback. They're like, you guys, like, how many is you? Like, are there you? Like, because we had another girl show up because she wanted a shadow and like just get the hang of doing weddings. And that's the best way to do it, is to go ask a different photographer, let me shadow, let me go work with you guys for free. That way I can learn. You never want to practice with a paying client, just because. Yeah. What if you fuck up? If you fuck up, then all of a sudden their photos are fucked up. If you're doing photos, their video is fucked up.
Yeah.
And like something, but if you just were helping, if you messed up, if you didn't get the shots,
it's not on you.
You're like, all right, well, at least I have these photos to practice.
At least for us, it's not on you, because I don't know how anybody else would work, but you clearly told the person that came to shadow you, he's like, you do you, like, don't worry about anything, about getting anything.
Yeah, and it's funny because at first she was kind of like, oh, I don't know, like she didn't want to put the camera in people's faces and shoot. I was like, people are here and they know they're going to get their photos taken. Don't ask. Just go. Take the pictures you want. Trust me. Watch. They won't even care. because they know they're taking pictures. If anything, they'll give you like a slight little pose, like look.
Or a look down. You know, they don't want a picture. They'll just look down. Yeah, but.
Yeah, but I was like the bride and groom and the groomsmen and like the bridesmaids. I was like, they know they're getting photos taken.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
You know, and it just took a little bit to get comfortable. And what I wanted to do too also is like I wanted us to look like a even stronger team. So that's why I got us the shirts. So we all got like matching shirts with the logos, which should be coming in. We'll have it at the next event, and I'm excited for that feedback. Being like, because it is not intimidating, but it is powerful when we show up. Like we don't show up with just a camera in our hand and ready to go in a mic. Like we show up with cameras, we show up with bags, we show up with tripods, we show up with like all sorts of gear. This is why, like, for those talking to us now about next year, why we're quoting what we're quoting. This year is to show you, like, you should have booked with us this year if you. It's to show you what we can do.
Yeah.
After that, you're gonna see what we can do, and now in order for it to get what we can do, you're gonna have to pay for that. You know, and it's still way under what other people are charging, like in bigger cities,
in the industry. But that'll be next year.
Yeah, so next year,
so book us next year, so you don't have to pay next year's price.
Yeah, because with practice you get better,
Yeah.
And then when you get better, you obviously some more equipment is involved, and you learn that hey, like if I add this, it's just gonna make this one shot better, but I need to buy this piece of equipment, you know, and things add up. People don't realize things add up. I'm gonna share some things hopefully on the page soon, almost like a breakdown of what equipment costs, just so you see like when we quote you, you know why we're quoting you.
It's kind of funny. Yesterday, we were going through some mass footage.
Mm-hmm.
So when they're walking out, and you know, and every event's different, so every mass is different. But when they open the doors and you get that hard light from the outside, and Jerry, when we were ordering our stuff, we were talking about filters, ND filters, and we're like, well, why can't you get the cheaper one? And I try to explain to her, but someone that doesn't understand, because the same thing. You tell someone your prices, like, oh, well, this costs this much. I'm only charging this. They don't get it until they see it. And then we were going through the footage, and then the footage where I was walking out and the hard light was hitting them compared to when I had my ND filter on. And then she told me, she's like, good thing you went with a lot more expensive option because it was definitely worth it. And you get like little things like that people just see us walking around with something and they're like, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. But they don't really understand that just that little filter costs this much. And, you know,
yeah, and those filters are expensive. Like the ND filters that I have to buy for my camera to drop in, they're like $350, and it's just one.
Yeah.
And then I had to buy a clear one, which does absolutely nothing for $150.
Weird, yeah, that was weird.
And people don't see these things. They don't see the memory cards, the batteries,
how much is a good memory card?
It depends on your camera too, because there's the other one, the CF Express cards. But good cards, you're looking anywhere from like 90 and above.
Yeah, and 90 is still cheap.
Yeah, 90's on the cheaper end of the good cards.
Yeah, because if you want to get a okay middle one, they're like $200 to $300 for one.
Yeah,
for one.
And so like people don't see this. They don't see that batteries cost a lot for the newer cameras now.
Batteries are dumb expensive.
Like batteries cost a lot for newer cameras. People don't realize that. And just the software we use, and all the hours it takes to edit something. Yeah. It's funny. There's this one guy that we follow, super cool guy. Yeah. What is it?
James Porter. Can't remember his media. James Porter Media.
Something like that. He does amazing work. Yeah, he does amazing work on like weddings and stuff. Just he makes like these little short films. That's why we call them short films too. And they're just like, you can tell the multiple angles he gotten and the mics he had to use, the lights he has to use. He breaks down a lot of this stuff, and he uses like harnesses, like all sorts of stuff.
He's one of like the few that's not scared to show what he has, because he's already put in that much work. To even try to copy him is like.
I think being a little bit more transparent. That's why I want to be more transparent with people, like what shit is actually costing. That way, when you tell them how much like you're gonna do an event for, they'll be like, oh, okay, I can see why, you know, instead of being like, it's funny, somebody messaged and they're like, hey, like we want to do this event. We'll just say it's a quinceañera. That way people can't.
pinpoint.
Let's just say it's a quinceañera. It's not a quinceañera. But they're like, oh, it's only going to be, and I quoted them how much, because I was like, I'm going to take John, I'm going to take another photographer, I'm going to take myself. I was like, and this is what we're going to do. And they're like, oh, that's quite a bit. It's going to be something small, nothing too crazy. I was like, whether it's big or small, I was like, it's the same amount of work for us.
Yeah.
I was like, just because you're going to have 50 people instead of having 100 people does not change the fact that we still have to take the same amount of photos, record the same amount of video. Mm-hmm. You're still going to do church, right? Yeah. You're still going to do an event afterwards, right? Yeah. Exactly.
You're still going to do the dances.
You're still going to do the dances just because you think you're not going to have that many people there.
Doesn't affect anything to do with.
It has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with us.
I was telling Jerry yesterday that since we do like kind of that short film style compared to here where we're at, it's kind of like generic that they'll give you a 3-4 hour long video of basically everything that happened in the day with nothing, like no creativeness behind it. And I feel it's a lot harder to do a short film that's 15 minutes, let's say, 15 minutes than a 4 hour long video that a lot of people do understand, especially like our generation. They do understand that because they see it everywhere else except here. But if you get with that older generation, like those older parents that are like, no, I want to see everything. Like I don't know, that's so easy to do because you just got to throw everything you filmed all day and then just call it good. But then it kind of goes back to you. Like if that James guy that we were talking about did that 4 hour long boring video, I don't think he'd be at where he is now.
Sometimes you have to sit down and you have to consult with whoever you're talking to, just because for example, like we can be like, go and find someone who has a video like that. Try watching it. Tell me when you get bored. And you're going to start watching it. And it's funny, when we did that event, we were talking to a couple, and they're like, this is the type of videos we do. We do the short films. We keep it nice and short, but it's a lot harder. People don't realize that a short film is a lot harder than, like you said, just giving them the big, long files. I was like, people, when you come over, they trust me. I don't want to go to nobody's house and watch a freaking 5 hour video of your daughter's quinceañera. Like,
or how is that daughter going to share that 4 hour video to her friends?
It's only when people come over, you put it on DVD or a VHS or whatever, and then you just watch it.
Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3.
But with a 15-minute short film, you'd be like, all right, check this video out. It's only like 15 minutes. And it goes, you keep it going. You know what I mean? Like highlights. So whoever's watching it is not getting bored. The same couple came back and they're like, all right, we want to hire you because we went over there. They went to go watch a video.
Well, there was someone else there.
Yeah, there was somebody else there that does those long videos, and that's cool. That's perfectly fine because there's
also a market there.
There's a market for that, and that's just something we're not going to focus on. And of course, like if push come to shove, if that's what they want, it's an easier job for John.
As long as they're paying,
it's an easier job for John. But we're trying to bring this creative short films to Idaho, and they watched it for 10 minutes and they came back and they're like, yeah, you're right. Because it's serious. Like we have such a short attention span. If you're listening to this right now, think about it. Would you go over to somebody's house and say they just got married and you wanted to watch the entire mass, the entire party, the entire everything? No, I'd be like, I would have just gone to the event. Like,
the mass kills me, dude. When they start playing and they're like at the fast forward that thing, just like we all been to mass. Like we know what they're gonna say. Like, we get the point of the mass. And but you do get that mom and the dad. That's what I do a little twist on mine, that I do give them the same short film, but instead of the highlights of like the mass or the highlights of the dances that they have at the end, I'll throw those in raw. Well, not raw, but the whole thing. And just because you do have mom or dad or the aunt that's like, oh, I just want to see the whole mass, and then there you go. But like creative wise, that's not the move at all.
Yeah, and people are going to see that shift. They're going to see that shift over to like this type of video, this type of, and then the people who don't do it now are going to have to learn to adapt quickly. Yeah. They're going to have to learn how to edit that way because it's a whole style of editing and everyone has their own style of doing it. You know, everyone has like the way they pick the music, the way they want to put it together. And like that one guy, it literally looks like a movie. He has like drone shots.
He creates sometimes his own music too.
His own storylines, and he got to the point where he was able to mic a lot of people up at one time too. Like he'll mic a lot of people. He has a lot of people working for him now too. That way they can get multiple angles.
Yeah, that guy is insane. Like, I love editing and having his stuff play. I don't know if you've been watching his newest stuff. He does like these live Q&As, I guess you could say, and breakdowns of like videos. And I love watching that. Like, it wants me to like make my shit better even more when I'm watching his stuff because it makes it look like his stuff is just like production stuff. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just insane.
And
But
yeah, so I mean, we'll get to that point. That way people can see. And I mean, it brings it all the way back like to like what we're trying to do. Like since we're already in this industry, we're trying to add more. We're trying to just dip our toes into other things.
Yeah.
Like that's why I want the photo booth idea is an amazing, just because we're already in this world. So it's a lot easier for us to get our product and just be like, here, it's available too. Compared to someone who's not in the world and they're just like, oh, that seems like a good idea, and then does it, but doesn't know who to talk to, doesn't know how to talk to the right people.
Yeah.
Like, luckily, we've been doing it for a while, so we know, which comes back to networking. We know the right people to talk to, be like, hey, this is available. Like, let me know if you have anything, or we can work together. Like, say you can offer this also, like with one of your packages and things like that. There's plenty of ways to.
We're just creating more value to like the brand experience, I guess you could say, because like my passions are different than your passions, but we also have like the same goal in mind. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that that's what kind of like, as long as everybody like you work with has the same goal, it tends to work better than if you don't. And I think that's what like is going to kind of separate us in this area, because you go out of this town and you go into a whole different realm with like different levels. There's so many skilled people out there in the world, and then they might be lacking one thing. They might be lacking a team. They might be lacking like those social skills. They might be lacking, but the more people you bring into your group, like the better. And so like I do have a vision too that we're gonna be like big.
Oh yeah, and especially like the reason people don't grow is because they don't want to make those sacrifices of building with a team and sacrificing that way, and then eventually that team can grow into something huge. Because I've seen it. Like there's photographers who go out here and they'll run 2 cameras. That way they can get 2 focal lengths. But guess what? You're in the same spot. It's 2 focal lengths from the same spot. The cool thing that how we work is like I'll be on one side, Jesus is on the other side. Or Deanna, she's also going to be working with us. Deanna will be on the other side. John like has a lot of room to move. I remember what's his name? Jesus had the 70 to 200. I had the 24 to 70. So I was getting like the wider shots. That way, like setting the scene. Jesus was getting some like tight close shots. And it just turns out really good. Also, like when we were doing the pictures afterwards, it was super windy that day. We had planned to go somewhere to take pictures, but it was way too windy. And for those people that know, like taking pictures of girls in the wind, it sucks because their dress goes eyelashes all over the place, their hair's all over the place. And then afterwards, they just don't like the photo. So luckily, we had enough time to take some pictures after the mass right there at the church. And so we made it work there. And like I was like, hey, Jesus, like, because I'm trying to like set this up, take these pictures of here. I was like, can you take these guys outside and take some pictures of them, with just them by themselves, the groomsmen. The only thing that I think we did miss was taking pictures of the bridesmaids by themselves.
Oh,
but
it was crunch time too.
Yeah, we only had 30 minutes afterwards to be there. So we were kind of like just trying to move. Yeah. But we did get the main ones, like the group shots, the ones with the bride and groom, like all those. Like we got those. So
yeah, it's hard to navigate through a lot of things too, because you are on a tight schedule, and you're not on your own schedule. You have to work with everybody else.
I think he's out there.
We got Brandon in the house, or
I think he's out there.
Maybe not.
Brandon?
It sounds like him. Yeah, I think it's him. Did he text you?
No, go and open the door real quick. See if it's him. Yeah.
March started that back up. But yeah, I think that event went really well. There's like always room for improvement though.
You
in
learn.
everything, and not every event is the same. Every one is different.
Yeah, it also depends on the church that you go to, and like
that one was supposed to be bright as hell. That one, but it could have used more light.
Yeah, it's funny to your eye it looks bright,
Yeah,
but it's not. Like to a camera, it's not. And then you have to raise the ISO, which meaning like you're gonna introduce a bunch of noise into thing, and it's not gonna look as clear as you want, and things like that. So
yeah,
you run into those issues.
What I really want to do a type of event is like a bridal shower. So if anybody out there listening to is in the area, well, Idle Falls area, or willing to travel for something like that, I'd love to do something like that for to learn how to do that, because it'd be awesome. I saw what's his name's bridal shower, dude. That is insane. There's no way I could recreate something like that because of just like the talent that he has.
Oh, where it almost looked like a
reality show.
Yeah,
dude. I was looking at his timeline. I don't know if you've seen that video, dude. He has like 16 layers of audio on that bridal.
Dang. Yeah, and that's. I'm sure he has like an audio guy now, like monitoring the audio,
he has
multiple
like 4 guys with him, dude.
And that costs money.
Yeah, he is running big projects, because I remember I told you earlier that he quotes them around 3 months per project, which is fine. I've heard photographers do about 3 months, some on those too.
Yeah, because it's a lot of photos. It's a lot of content you have to go over. It's not something for those. I don't know how some people quote them that they'll give them to them like the same week.
Yeah, unless you have no job, I can see maybe that. But
what's up, dude?
Got Brandon in the house.
Come on in. So for those that don't know, we had Brandon on the podcast almost a little bit over a year ago.
Was it that long ago?
It was quite a bit.
Last summer for sure.
And you've grown a lot since then. So if you guys haven't heard his entire story, which is crazy, some of the accidents he went through, like just throughout his life, check out that podcast. I'll also link it to this one as well. But again, and he also rebranded. So I wanted to talk to like why he rebranded his covers. But we have Brandon from, is it Elemental Covers now?
It's still H2O Industries technically, but yeah, we rebranded to Elemental Covers as our like Google Ads campaign and all that stuff.
Yeah, so welcome back to the podcast, dude. Like, it's funny because I was talking to John and I was like, "Oh shit, I forgot to tell him the time, bro."
Yeah, we're sitting here like, "No, is he gonna come?" And he's like, "Yeah," and he's checking. He's like, "Oh, I just told him on Sunday," and I'm like, "You didn't tell him what time, did you?" He's like, "Oh, my bad."
Yeah.
So we're here sitting like twiddling our fingers, like, "We'll just start it and we'll have you hop on when you got here." So
yeah, because like we talked about earlier, you had we sat here and we chopped it up about your life story, and now I wanted to have you back on just because recently you told me that you're full time, like your business now, right?
Yep. Yeah, that was an interesting transition.
And first of all, before we get into that part, like, how has business been since you came on the podcast?
I don't know. It steadily grows. For the last 2 years of analytics, pretty much every month we've seen 46% growth compared to like the year before. Mm-hmm. So 2021, I think we did 53,000 in revenue, and then last year we did 120 in revenue, and 94 of that was true revenue. Like we gave discounts and stuff to free covers and stuff like that. So,
okay. And so it's been steadily growing.
Yeah. Yep. And then this year's kind of doing the same thing. So like last May, for instance, we did like 12,000 ish. And then this last month we did 25,000.
So. Oh, wow. And just and you've been doing just the same type of covers, right?
Yeah.
Because I know recently you've been posting that you also added another type of cover to your guys' lineup just because you wanted something that was a little bit more affordable to those people that still wanted a cover and didn't want to quite pay for like the premium products.
Yes. Yep. So we do have like our covers a decently high price point, especially with everything getting more expensive, So we tried for quite a while to keep our prices down. Initially, we went from doing like free shipping to If it's under $450, you pay the shipping on it, and that helped a little bit with offsetting those costs without really losing customers. And then like it's still our cost to produce went up like 12%. So I bumped 7% to kind of help counteract that a little bit. I don't want to go over the 400 mark because that's where we tried to stay under, and we ended up having to cap that a little bit with some of our bigger covers this year. And it's just unaffordable for a lot of our demographic is middle income people, and $400 for a cover is pretty expensive. So
yeah, and if you're already investing into like some sort of like jet ski or anything like that, you should know that it comes with like prices like this to maintain it, just like care for it. And because this is essentially to take care of your, whatever
your investments.
Exactly. Because if you don't cover it, if you don't have the proper like cover for it, you're going to ruin it. And then guess what? Instead of being out the $400 or $500 you pay for the cover, you're going to be out thousands of dollars because like now you have to repair this or you have to repair that. Like,
fiberglass is expensive.
And then imagine, so what are those covers called that you guys do?
So we launched them at the Huntington Beach event like a couple weeks ago. They're called the Elemental Light covers. And the light is like our generic, like as close to OEM as you can get, because OEM's like a one size fits most type of thing. Once you start making modifications to your ski, then the OEM cover is not quite going to fit right. So we made a cover that would fit most of the modifications that people are doing because they make wider bars or change their pole length or whatever. So we made a base cover that would fit most of your modifications and fit most of those better than the OEM cover would, but at a pretty similar to OEM cost. So our closest competitor for their premium cover, which is really similar to an OEM cover, same lightweight material versus ours, which is like still a heavy duty material. It's just missing the inside lining, the soft lining.
Okay.
It's only a $50 difference. Ours is $50 more. It's still less than $300. So,
wow.
So we were able to get a good product that was like affordable that now people can, store or put their ski outside and not have to worry about it as much.
Yeah, because right now it's hard to find like, if you don't have a house big enough, if you don't want to go and pay for like storage and stuff, you're gonna have to put that jet ski somewhere. Like it's got to go somewhere, and if you don't have the proper, cover for it, like you're gonna ruin it. Like you said earlier, like fiberglass is not, and I'm sure even now it's even more expensive. Like especially with everything going up in price. And it sucks that you did have to go up in price, but people don't realize that that's something you were forced to do. It's either you don't go up in price or you go out of business. Like you have to. People don't realize that people get put under those situations. Like I can keep them at the same price, but I'm going to be losing money. Like eventually, it's going to get to the point where like I'm going to have to just shut this down because it's not profitable. I can't feed me. I can't feed.
Can't take on employees. Yeah. It limits your growth potential when you don't adjust to the economy. So.
And people don't realize that why to go up in price? Because I remember I used to go to Cafe Rio all the time and get the steak salad. Right, it used to be like $11, and then out of nowhere they're like, oh, it's 13 something, and I'm like, oh,
I'm like what?
I don't want this shit.
Or like Mackenzie River pizzas.
Did they go up?
I love their pizza, but dude, they're like $25 a pizza now.
Expensive. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We went with Coastal the other day, and the pizza was like $27. I was like, what is it made out of?
It's like $8 to $10 more than it was like a year ago.
Dang.
Inflation, man.
Yeah, and people don't realize that sometimes these businesses they have to do this stuff.
Cheese, man.
Just because, like, I don't know if you guys saw that scandal thing going on right now, where supposedly it's a scandal. All these processed food farms and places, plants going up in fire, destroying. That's why there's like a shortage in like a lot of foods, especially baby formula right now. And that's a big thing that I don't know if that's being done on purpose or like that's why there's the whole conspiracy thing with those things. And
yeah, it could be. I don't know. With the drought and everything, I know Arizona's sweating pretty big because they're one of our largest like romaine lettuce manufacturers, right, in Arizona. And the Colorado River is what feeds most of them. And if you look at pictures of like Lake Powell or Lake Mead last year spring versus like this year spring, it's down even further and it's ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
So like I think the state last year had to buy water rights from the Indians that had the water rights and paid for water rights for a year, and it was a ridiculous amount of money, like $90 million or something.
Dang. And then that just adds to everything because they're not going to lose the money. They're going to find how to get it back somehow.
Yeah, so you got to add that into the cost, and then cost goes up, and that's, basic economics, supply, demand, and then consumers. We're at the bottom of the chain as the consumer, we deal with what we got.
We're the ones that get taxed and everything on it. So I know you mentioned it a little bit ago that you ended up going full time. What made you take that leap? That's it, because that for most people thinking about it, like you have your own, like say you have a side hustle, it turns into a side business, and then it turns into a business, and then now you're trying to juggle like what you have to do. What made you take that leap? Because a lot of people still haven't taken that leap or refuse to.
Yeah, no, it's kind of weird. I always have these stories, right? Right? All right. So we'll get into it a little bit. It started, you change your mentality, you change your lifestyle, you start reading books, and you build this different image of yourself. And then when you do that, you start saying, well, these people treat me like this, or like these people are the people I want to be around. And then you make adjustments to your lifestyle and how people are supposed to be treating you. It changes in your head. Mm-hmm. So some of that change, like dynamics, I guess would be a good word, right? Mm-hmm. So the dynamics of me and previous employer, which is family, just wasn't there anymore. Mm-hmm. I had more self-respect than just to like put my nose to the grindstone for 120 hours every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I quit doing that and started doing my own thing more. And eventually it became unmanageable, for time, because my business needs more. These guys want more, but I'm giving them less. Mm-hmm. And so then these guys are mad, but then you got to keep your customers happy because you want to keep growing. So either way you go, it's kind of like a lose-lose. So a couple months ago, I just hit this point where I've been reading this book called The E-Myth. Mm-hmm. Man, I've read it like 4 times. It's so full of crap that it's just like too much.
I think that's the book. I think you told me about it because recently I was looking through my library and I think that was on there and I'm like, where did I get this book from? Because usually it's I have it right there. The E-Myth Revisited.
Yeah,
it was you that.
Shit. That's not there. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
No, I'm gonna show him right now too. It's that second one.
Yep, that's the one.
That's where it came from. So, because that's actually the next one that I'm gonna listen to. So that's really good. And this is why I always tell people too is like it's crazy when I listen to books. Some people read books just depending on your preference. I don't know if you read or listen to them.
It depends.
Yeah, see, like it depends on your situation. Like when you can, I don't have the time to sit and like actually read them, and I can't. I mean, when I read books, also I read like 2-3 pages, and I'm like, what did I just read? And,
yeah.
And I've learned that I retain a lot more with audiobooks. So, but how books can actually help shift and shape your mindset.
Yeah, definitely.
You start learning things that you're like, dang, like. Behaviors that you used to do, and you'd be like, that's me right there. I used to be like doing this, and this, and all you have to do is like be a little bit more disciplined, be a little bit more this, and you can make it happen. And it's crazy how these books help you like show you all that, and then help you like almost shape your own.
It's also crazy though, because just depending where the book's been written, but whoever wrote that book must have read, listened, or heard something else from someone else. And then, like, it's the same, like, things that have been going on forever.
Yeah.
And then, like, it maybe gets lost. And then you read something, you're like, holy shit. Like, you do go it again.
What are some key things from that book that you took from it that you're just like...
So what's crazy about that book is it was written in, like, the 80s. Mm-hmm. And then they call it the Revisited, like you just saw. It says Revisited. Mm-hmm. They went back through it in, like, the early 2000s and updated it. So... more or less, it teaches you how to take your business and structure it to become a mature business. So you start out in business like you're a newborn, and then you go into this adolescence period, and then that's where most businesses die, is in that adolescence. And that's really where like my mind shift happened, was reading that chapter, or those few chapters, I guess, because it says like there's one of 3 ways that your business is going to die if you stay in adolescence. You're either like You're going to try to scale back because you took on too much and now you're dropping too many balls. And so you're going to fire people and then just try to go back to just being you. And that never works. You're going to scale up and grow too big, too fast, and not have the proper structure in place. And then it'll all implode on itself, which you see with a lot of the new like tech companies.
Yeah.
Like they'll blow up and they'll be doing really good. And then all of a sudden they're just like bankrupt. And it's just because they take on too much. They don't have structures in place. They're not built properly from foundation.
Yeah.
So
which is way important.
One earthquake hits and, you know.
Yeah.
And then the other one is like, it's not your business that fails. It's like you. So like for me, that would probably be the route that I'd end up being because I'm so driven and determined that like this has to be successful that I wouldn't just let it go.
Yeah.
It would just like drive me insane. Eventually I'd have like a mental break, and then the business obviously dies when you have a mental break. So, so it talks about structuring your business properly and then giving the attention to details to your business that I noticed weren't in like our family businesses, like my stepdad's business, my uncle business, my other uncle's business, my grandpa's business. Like they're all basically built the same way, and they're all stuck in this adolescent phase. And I didn't want to be that person or be stuck in that phase. So I started making changes and adjusting. And then in doing that and having the mind shift change of like, it's hard, right? Going from I'm a felon, I stole stuff. Like you have this low self-image at one point, and then you're trying to build yourself up because you can't grow without thinking higher of yourself. If you think low of yourself, like you're just going to stay down here. So you got to be building yourself up. And in doing that, you're going to change like how everyone that's ever interacted with you now interacts with you. You'll lose people. You'll piss people off. They'll get mad. Or people will be like, oh, dude, you're different. You changed. I'm like, yeah, I changed. That's good.
Yeah.
Change is good. If you don't want to change with me and grow,
see you.
There's the door. Yeah. So that being said, what happened was like 2 months ago, I told my my uncle their business. I was like, hey, man, I appreciate your help over all the years because, I've been helping you for 15 years, like on and off for a while. And then the last 7-8 years, steady. So I appreciate your help. What can I do to help you? Because I'm leaving. Like in the next couple months, here's my goal. This is where I want to be. I can't do that doing back and forth. So they were like, oh, if you can stay, help us train some people, hang out till like June, July, and make that transition, then that'd help. It's like, all right, cool. So more or less that all kind of happened. And the last like couple weeks, some other dynamics because of my dynamics changing and the relationships there have changed to where when I got back from Huntington Beach, I went into work and like that morning, I'd only been there for like an hour, and they're like, hey, come here. We're done with you. We don't need your help anymore. We're caught up. When they're not. Like, I know. But there came a time when like me putting myself and my stuff first over their stuff became an issue for them. And that's...
You get that a lot with a lot of people. And it's maybe not even like if there's something you did, but it's like selfishness. You don't want to see sometimes someone grow, and it kind of hits you because you're trying to get that same. I've seen that a lot actually. That you mentioned it. That it's kind of like you're growing, and they'll be like, yeah, that's good. But then they, like you said, there's a point that they're like, well, yeah, he doesn't care about my stuff anymore, and it can be selfishness. It can be just sometimes ignorance too, and it happens. Like that's where people clash. Like,
yeah, and sometimes it is like you don't care about their stuff anymore.
Yeah,
like I never quit caring.
Yeah,
but I put my stuff ahead of their stuff, and that's what people don't. That's what they don't like is when they're no longer first, when they're used to being first for so long, and then they're no longer first. It becomes a huge deal, and it started a long time before my business or any of that. Because back when I built my house like 3-4 years ago, like I took a month off and just worked on my house. I was there like 8 p.m. to like 3 a.m. and I did a lot of stuff working on my house that took away from like him and his time. as business, and probably like working those kind of hours, you get grumpy and irritable and stuff. So I know there was some like emotional stuff that didn't cohere right, you know? So it started like clear back before H2O even formed. It was just like compounded and then compounded and then compounded.
Snowball effect.
Yep. And so,
Were you kind of upset when that happened? Because, I mean, they could have called you.
no, dude. Weird. So here's the story. On this one. So I got back from Huntington Monday. Tuesday, I was just dead tired, so I didn't go in. And I didn't tell them, like, I didn't say, hey, Thursday I'm out of here. I won't be here Friday, Monday, Tuesday. I just took off because I'm being paid as a subcontractor, and some of those relationships, as we talked about, just I didn't care. I was like, okay, I'm out of here. I'm going to go do my thing because I need to launch these covers because it's going to add extra revenue. So it's more important to me.
Yeah.
And so when I got back, Tuesday I slept. Tuesday night, I woke up at like 4 after having this like nightmare. Felt like a month-long dream, those really long ones. So in that dream, Mike, the owner, he was passing out drill bits to everybody. And mine was different from everyone else's. I'm like, man, what's this? And he's like, oh, that means you're fired. And I was like, really? Yeah, dude, you're fired for real. Like, okay. And so you go in this panic mode of like, okay, well, this is sooner than I wanted to be fired. What am I going to do? How am I going to take care of my family? How am I going to pay my bills? So this dream was nothing but that for like a month of me like panicking and trying to figure out what to do and all that. Worked it out by the end. So when I woke up at 4, I was like, dude, that dream sucked. I don't like that. And then like 4 hours later, I got fired. But when I got fired 4 hours later, I'd already gone through all the panic, all that bullshit. So that
it was more like
crazy.
You were expecting it.
Yeah,
Deja vu, basically.
Yeah.
it was crazy. I like, okay, cool. Fist bumped him, peace, and went and started doing covers. Because like in the end of the dream, more or less, I created like multiple variants of covers, and my business picked up really well. And that was like the end of it. So that's where I'm at now. Is like, okay, well, if this is what the dream said, then let's go do it.
Yeah.
I'm not a really spiritual person. Like I got into Eastern spirituality, like Hinduism and that stuff made a lot of sense to me because they teach like karmic, like what you put out, you're going to get back kind of thing. Only psychology's always made a lot of sense to me. Like how people's brains work. It's always been something that's been interesting and like driven passions of mine. So like in the business, learning about website coloring and how that plays into psychology, dude, I went down like a 10-hour rabbit hole one night just because I learned how different colors portray different things, and it was crazy. So
Yeah.
so I apply like Eastern religion into this psychology, like real world science together. And that's really like my spirituality. That's what makes sense to me. And it's not so much that if you put good out in the world, it's that you're looking for the good. Like your blinders are to all the negative thoughts. If you're an optimist, right? Or if you're a pessimist, your blinders are to all the positive things. So if you're looking for good, then you're going to act on good things when you see them, and then they'll bring back like good resolutions, which then compounds your positive, like looking for positive things because it plays positive. Where if you're looking for negative things all the time, then you're going to act in a negative manner, and then that's going to have a negative consequence, which is going to compound your negative, like everything in life is negative.
It's crazy. I have to head out real quick because I have to be somewhere. But before I leave, I hope more than one person that I know that listen to this on regularly, maybe you can kind of pinpoint them down, that are at that point in their business that if they take the same leap that you're taking,
That's all they need.
that's all they need, because they're taking that I guess you could say, would you call it a teenager or adolescent
Yep.
stage in their business, and if they just jump into that more, it might be scary. Like you said, you might have like that panic mode and everything, but if they can take it just that one step further and just going all out, I hope they listen to this, and then maybe like everything you're saying, because everything you're saying is true. It happens to anybody that wants to take that step, maybe in a different way, but the concept is the same. And like hopefully they like click in it and they're like, huh.
Yeah, because a lot of people are scared, like, which is normal. It's normal to feel to be afraid or nervous about taking a leap, signing for a building, like anything. Like all these things are nerve wracking. You don't see, like, say even someone who has like a way bigger business than any of us, when they get a new bigger building, I'm sure they go through like, like, is it gonna work out? Like, like,
how am I gonna pay for this?
Like we have to really push this hard, because like if not, then like it's just gonna ruin everything. But at the end of the day, it's weird how when you get put under pressure, how better you work.
You perform, 100%. But
this dude has to go to church.
Yeah, sorry, man.
He has to go do his religious thing.
I'm getting married
as I'm talking about spirituality. Perfect.
But yeah, man, good seeing you again. I can't wait to listen to the rest of the podcast when it comes out on Monday. And it looks like you're doing really good. So it's always good to have people back on another time.
Yeah.
Once they evolve their business. But see you guys.
All right.
See you, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Bye. You can leave. No. All right. Later, bro.
See you, dude.
Just put to record a new clip.
Yeah, I will. And then if you just bring it tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll take it to you. Oh, the battery died on it finally? It's cool. We got this one going. So yeah, I mean, you took that leap. One question I had for you was like, what did you like, thinking back of like when you were going through like all your, like when you were stealing, like all this, because your mindset is completely different than it was there than what it is now. Like, if you could go back in time, do you think your past self would have been like, dude, you're crazy. That's not me.
Probably. I don't know, dude. It's
crazy
hard to look
it's
back.
crazy how much you grow, and then like now, like when you go back and actually think about it, you're like, dang, like that I can't believe I was thinking like that. I can't believe I was doing things like that. Like only if I would that's why I like the podcast and like reading and like sharing information, because you're just like, only if I would have had someone guide me, like, tell me that what's good, what's bad, and hopefully help you during that time. The memory card? Okay, cool. All right, see you. But you know what I mean? Like, just how much mindset shift, because I was the same way with books. I remember I read a book. It was that Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And after that, I found a lot of things in that book related to me. Like, I can't believe I'm doing these things. Because like you read something and you're like, holy shit, like I do that right there. And like no reason I'm stuck in this area, no reason, like because I'm not surrounded by those right people. Like you start surrounding yourself with other entrepreneurs, other successful people, especially people who are way more successful than you. Then that really motivates you to like to keep growing, to keep like, or whatever it is you're doing, that's why I always love it when people recommend books like that. Now I really want to listen. I want to skip the book I'm on now and like and go listen to because I get motivated by like these conversations. I know we talked about it before. Like I love having conversations with people because it motivates me in whatever I'm doing. It because we don't do the same thing. Like you do covers, I do media. Like it's like two completely different things. But your story inspires me. You know what I mean? Because just like little things like when you talked about like you were already on your way out, but you were kind of like forced to move out, like forced to be on your own, which is probably what you needed. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people don't realize that sometimes when something bad happens, it's what we needed at that time. For example, like back when I asked for a raise after being with where I used to work. Over 10 years, like you asked for a raise and they're like, no, like you don't need a raise. And after that, I was like, all right, cool. At the time it sucked because you're just like, why wouldn't you give me a raise? Like, but afterwards I was grateful because I was like, if they would have gave me a raise, I probably would have stayed. I probably wouldn't have been like motivated to do other, like what I'm doing now. So it's good to take those bad situations and turn them into good. Because it's cool what you did right after. You're like, all right, well, I'm gonna go work on my covers. Like instead of being like, oh my god, like what am I gonna do? Like how could you fire me? Like did you guys end on bad terms or?
I don't think so. I don't know. Honestly, I haven't even talked to Mike about it. It was the manager. Like he told the manager, "Hey, tell dude, see ya."
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Well, hopefully not. You know what I mean? Like,
We'll see.
I can tell that you're not. I mean, you were already on your way out. It's not like you were like.
Dejected.
It caught you at a surprise, like out of nowhere. Like, how can you fire me? Like I wasn't expecting this, but you were already expecting to leave, which is good. And I think a lot of people need to not only listen to that book that you talked about, is get out of that phase, because I know so many people right now in that adolescence, that phase, and they just don't get out of there because one, maybe they're comfortable there.
Yeah, comfort. It's the killer dreams, right?
Yeah, that's why like I hate that. Like I'm always uncomfortable. I'm always stressed out, especially like when you start getting into other stuff. Like right now we're getting into a bunch of stuff, and I'm just like stressed out, but it's like a good stressed out. I was like, this is what I expected, you know, like this is what I wanted, so I can't complain.
Yep.
You know, so and I feel people get too comfortable in that like adolescent stage where they like to stay just small, local, which is cool. Like if that's what you're going for, if you want to be comfortable like that, if you're just looking for like a cool little small little shop, you know, more power to you, because some people don't have that drive or that vision to, and I know you do, just by the based on how you talk, and especially now that you're creating different variations of covers, even like branding it differently, that way it can be found on Google a lot easier, because I know that was one big reason why you changed that. So that was one of the main reasons, right, why you changed it over to Elemental Covers.
Yeah. So
because it's still H2O Industries.
Yeah, we are still H2O Industries. It's Elemental Covers by H2O Industries. There were a few reasons why, A, now, and B, why we went to the Elemental brand. Reason one was basically we're going to expand and go into other markets that aren't watercraft. Mm-hmm. And at that point, H2O doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. Like,
yeah, if you're searching for like your ATV and you run into a website that says H2O Industries, you're like, well, that's not what I'm looking for.
Yeah, that's watercraft or whatever. Yeah. So that was reason number one, was with expansion, like H2O just isn't going to perform the same as Elemental Covers will. Also, it's more of a mouthful to say like, oh, it's the H2O Industries cover instead of, oh, Elemental Covers. Mm-hmm. It's faster, it's easier. And then reason number three is it plays into the SEO thing. But one of the Instagram growth podcasts that I listen to talks specifically about making your name part of what you do. So if you are like an Instagram growth account, then you would try to do like IG growth in your name somewhere. Mm-hmm. Where we're covers, we put covers in with Elemental Covers. So that if someone searches cover, we pop up right there on Instagram. Mm-hmm. And then same on Google. Now, if you go type in like covers or jet ski covers or whatever, we're naturally going to like spawn higher than most of these other companies that are making their own cover, but that's not what their business name is. Mm. So
did you have a hard time letting go of, you know what I mean? Because like when you start something, you're like H2O Industries, like this is what it is. But then like when you're put in that situation where you're going to have to like kind of not necessarily change the name, but you are changing it a little bit. Did you feel like some sort of way, like, or were you like, yeah, we need to do it?
No, not really. It was just like I knew it needed to happen, so it was easy. One of the chapters in that book talks about the reason why a lot of people get stuck in that adolescent business area is because the business to them is like an extension of themselves. Mm. They don't treat the business like its own entity, like its own little being, basically. It is part of me. So when they talk about, like H2O Industries, I've caught myself doing it a lot. It's like, hey, we want to, it's not H2O Industries goal is, it's our goal is, and you're personalizing that. And you need to make the business less personal if you want it to grow. Mm-hmm. to be able to think about it outside of the box, it has to be not in your box with you. It needs to be in its own box.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd kind of made that transition in my head already from the book, reading that. But then we had Elemental on the back of our cover for over a year now, like almost a year and a half probably. So it was just like an easy, we didn't even have to think about it. It was just Elemental covers. Boom. And then we went and trademarked Elemental covers. H2O Industries was already trademarked, but we did all of our trademarking stuff on that so that we could then rebrand, and then bought our website. And from there, it's like all pretty much
that
downhill.
That way you can get into the other, like, because you can make covers for a lot of things. Because I know you've made covers for some cars too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and especially your cars, other recreational vehicles like the ATVs, the Razors, all those. There's all sorts of recreational vehicles out there. So it's cool that you were able to like shift and change that, because a lot of people, like you said, they get really emotional attached to whatever it is that they're doing, and they don't want to let things go. They want to be like, oh no, it's like this is what it's supposed to be, but they don't realize that. And nowadays, like, especially with social media, the internet, you have to change a lot of things, and you have to play by the rules. Like, well, not necessarily play by the rules, but there's like a certain way to get seen, and if you want to get seen, especially if you're trying to grow, like, you have to make those changes. Because you could have kept it H2O Industries, but then you would have ran into the issues like we talked about. Like, say someone's looking for an ATV cover, run into your website and they see H2O Industries and like, oh no, this is a jet ski covers only, and then you just there goes someone. It could have been the owner of a company that had like 4 or 5 covers that they wanted and recommended to other people, and so on and so forth. So it's cool that you get on here and like chat about things like that, just because people do get stuck in those areas where they're just like, they don't want to, they want to grow, but they just don't know the sacrifices, the changes that they need to make, in the research you have to do. Like, no one's telling you to go out here and read these books, listen to these podcasts. Like, no one's forcing you to do anything like that. At the end of the day, it comes down to us, like what we want to do. Like, if we want to get better, there's ways to get better. The information is out there. You just got to find it, and you have to listen to it, and you actually have to apply it into your life, like whether it be like this. I'm sure you got some people listening to it. They're like, I'm gonna go check out this book too, because it seems like it really did a lot for you, especially if you're into business, So I'm glad you brought that book up, because now I definitely want to read it too. Like, there's always those things that we don't know that we do, and things that we need to change. So what are your goals right now for Elemental covers?
So our goal this year is just to hit like 200,000 in sales. So we can double our sales again. And then I have a couple other product launches that I want to do this year. So we're pushing really hard to get that done, as well as expand. Because up to this point, we've been like in a really niche market of stand-up jet skis only for the most part. And we're working with a couple big companies within the industry now to expand into your mainstream jet ski. What everyone thinks about when you say jet ski is like the sit down on the river.
Yeah,
you're cruising with your wife. Yeah. So that market itself is like roughly 100 to 150x the market that we're in. So we're gonna like expand into that market, because that's just like a natural little baby jump to go into there, and that's going to help our sales and revenue. So goal within the next month is to have that. Goal within the next couple months is we've been looking at private investors, trying to bring on an angel investor to help us get the capital that we need, so that we can buy a couple of different pieces of machinery, get some inventory built up, and be able to expand our business and fulfill orders faster for our customers. So we've worked a lot, like just this first 5 months has primarily been website development, a finalized product. So when I say product, like everyone thinks that whatever their business is selling is the product. This book specifically talks about that is not your product. That's like a byproduct of your product. So that is what you're offering to the customers. The product is actually your company and how it presents that. So the customer experience is the product that you're selling, because you have a positive customer experience that you can replicate every time, the same, identical experience, and it's a good one for your customers. They're going to spread word of mouth. And that is your product, because you sell that and you consistently sell that to multiple people, then you're going to have a larger base just automatically happen from word of mouth. So we have developed our product, being the H2O Industries experience. We've developed our website. It'll be completely functional, like within the next month. We're redoing a bunch of stuff to make it easier. Like, that's part of the experience, right? It's easy for me to find my cover, and then B, it's personalized to me, and then C, like order fulfillment. Our order fulfillment now is sick. Like, we probably spent $5 overall because we ordered like $5,000 worth of stuff at one point, of flyers and stickers and brochures and stuff that we're sending with our products now. So our products come in a nice hard case. They come with like a sticker in the bottom of the box that you scan, and it gives you your cleaning care instructions. On the outside of the box, there's a thing you can scan, takes you straight to our Instagram page. And now, hey, tag us in a video, we'll feature you in our feed. And multiple other things like that just make that product, like receiving your product in the mail, 10 times better than what we were doing before.
Yeah, because that's why those channels got really big, like kind of like the Unbox Therapy channel. I don't know if you ever watched that one. He makes this whole experience about unboxing. Like the ones that really stand out to him is like when they have an experience unboxing the product. The product could suck, like, but if you like, oh, they did this, they added this, like it comes in a nice case. Not a lot of people do that. So it'd be like, oh, they care about the details, and then you add some stickers. Oh, use this which is cool now, because a lot of people, they see papers, they chuck them. But since you have like scan this and you'll get your cleaning care instructions, it's a lot easier because people want everything on their phone, and just giving them that experience. And it's funny that before you even got here, we were talking about how we're trying to deliver experiences to people, because that's what sells. Is like, not like you talked about, not essentially like, yeah, that's your byproduct, like whatever you give them, but people always remember that experience. Like that experience, if you can like give your customer that experience, they're going to spread the word, like, and it's going to spread quickly.
Yeah. So you're supposed to think of your company and the way that you deliver to your customers as like, put it on a shelf, and then think about your competitors and how they do the same thing. And then you can compare yourself to them in that light and say, okay, they're doing this. This is pretty cool. We could do something similar. Or we do this and nobody else does anything like it. That makes us like a top shelf product. And if you consistently do like checking out your business, like quarterly review, semi-annual or annual, however you want to do it, you go through your goals, you go through your SWOT analysis, your risks. That's the SWOT is where you would compare yourself to those other businesses and figure out who your competition is. You do all those things and you can just stay on top of it all the time. So instead of having this huge, like for us, this transfer that we've done with website and transition, like it's been a year-long process because it's such a huge thing. And we've already been thinking about it. Like we were able to break it down into little pieces to where now it's attainable over a year.
Yeah.
Where if you hadn't been on top of all those things, trying to make sure that your product is quality control's good, that your byproduct being your customer experience is also good. Like you analyze those things and you can make little transitions over a period of 6 months, a year, that goal is now like it's done and attained. So
no, and it's crazy how you bring that up, because it's something that I've also learned too, and then like try to like tell other people is like when they try to do everything all at once, like you're on top of everything, and once you're on top of everything, you can separate it into like, I call them baby steps. It's like do a little here, little here, little here, because after you do a lot over time. Instead of trying to do one big thing over like, last minute, because you know how some people they'll put it off like, and at the last second, it seems too overwhelming. It seems like too much. Like, what did I get myself into? But you could have completely avoided that by staying on top of it. And that's how you can tell the difference between people who start becoming successful and people who just aren't growing very much or not. It's because they learn how to put themselves in these situations. They make those sacrifices. Of course, like, I'm sure there's those days like where you just don't want to be doing what you're doing just because you want to like go and hang out or do something. But you're like, no, like I gotta stay on the plan, like, because over time, then I'll have all this time to do what I want, Yep. But people don't want to make those sacrifices in the beginning. They want that overnight success, and that's where I see a lot of people fail too. Is like when they start a business in the beginning, they're expecting right away to sell $100,000 in the first month. That's not gonna happen. Like, unless you come out with a crazy product that blew up on TikTok and everybody wants it, and then of course I can see that, but it's usually not the case. Like, usually you have to build that, you have to find your clientele, you have to market, you have to do all sorts of stuff. So it's people that they don't understand that, and it's cool that you come and talk about it just because you're going through all these experiences. You know what I mean? Like, from starting it a long time ago to like where it's at now, and it's in two complete different places, and now you rebranded, you're coming out with different variations, which I find to make like really cool. And then especially since you're like, I don't want to stick with just water stuff, I want to there's so much out there, and there is, there's all sorts of stuff you can cover. Like, you've done cars before, right? Like, I think you did a Lamborghini.
Yep.
Yeah, and see, like, there's
and my old Audi, the pink Audi.
Yeah, see,
so and played with it.
And it's endless, the covers are endless, and it's only as far as you want to take it, like, if you want to get stuck in just water, like jet skis and stuff, then cool. Like, but not Brandon.
Yeah,
like
no.
He has a huge video. Like, it's funny because it like talking with people with yourself who have that vision, that motivation, and they're not just like talking about it. You're out here doing it. Like, now you're doing it full time. So I'm excited to see what you bring over the next year, just because it's going to be different. Because before I would say like not your full attention was on it just because you were working over here. And so now that you have 100% full attention to it, now I'm excited to see where it goes from here, just because now you're just like, now I can just focus on this thing and make it grow. No one's going to tell me what I can and can't do. Of course, I know you know what you can and can't do.
Yep.
Some people would take your position and just be like, oh, well, I've made it. Like, we're making good money right now. I've made it. Let's just see where it goes from here.
Let it flow.
Yeah, just let it flow. It's gonna, and I think that's another problem that people think that it's always gonna, like, say when you said you last month you made how much?
25.
Yeah, see, and people think that, oh, next month I'm gonna make the same, so I should be good. I should be good. No, you gotta keep grinding. You gotta keep hustling, because that's how you're gonna build it. First of all, and then also, now you're doing it too, because it's all or nothing.
Yep.
It's
all or nothing. I find though that, like, being backed into a corner, and this kind of comes back to that whole karmic, like, psychology thing, right? That we were talking about, is, for me, like, I'm a very huge optimist. So I always look for the positive opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
With this particular transition, going from full-time employment to this, it was like, yeah, there was the panic in my dream, but then as soon as reality, like, it really happened, it was, okay, what's the positives in this? What can I do? Like, that spirituality kind of came into play. And the universe, I guess you'd say, if you're going off the karma thing, like, the universe is forcing me to do this because, A, I'll perform better. Like, I always perform better when I'm pushed into a corner. Regardless of if I'm stealing or whatever, I always made ends work. Mm-hmm. Without morals previously. And now with morals, like, I have better vision, because even the stealing was really entrepreneurial. Like, it wasn't just, oh, I'm just going to go to a random spot. Like, I'd think about what metals were doing the best, which ones I could get the best return out of, and where I could go to get it that would be like the least least risk, I guess.
Yeah.
As well as like the least damage to someone else.
Yeah.
Because like I didn't want to hurt anybody or their living. Like I wasn't gonna go break into a new construction house and just rip all the pipes out.
Yeah.
So I was going to like old abandoned like farm fields and stuff and take in the things that I knew would be good.
Mm-hmm.
So there was some bit of entrepreneurship even back then. I wouldn't say like promote that kind of behavior by any means.
Yeah.
Like it's better to be an entrepreneur and have a product that you can push that's not like damaging someone else's financials, property, something like that.
Yeah.
So that being said, like this transition being pushed into a corner, I think is what's going to really like take me next level.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite snippets out of a podcast, and I don't even know what podcast it was out of, but there's a gentleman who they ask at the end of the podcast, like what would be your most valuable input to tell somebody. And then this dude said that people give up what they want most for what they want most now, which comes into that whole, like, you're scared to jump into your business and just do it full time. That's because what you want most now is stability and comfort, and whatever your job is offering you, like there's a value there.
Yeah.
That's obviously higher now than what the value of what this could be in your head. So don't give up what you want most, which is like financial freedom, independence, whatever, for what you want most now, like your comfort zone. $10 an hour, $16 an hour, $35 an hour. Personally, for me, I was making $35 an hour, and now I'm doing this. I'm not making $35 an hour.
Yeah.
But
no, yeah, and see, and that's really cool that you talk about that, because it's so true. Like that's why a lot of people are afraid. Like if you're looking to get into entrepreneurship and you think it's gonna be all like rainbows and butterflies. It's not. Like this is one of the most stressful. Like you're always working. It's a 24/7 job. It's not a 9 to 5. You're constantly working, but it's one of the most rewarding. Like when things are going, like when they work and things are going good, like that feeling, you're like, oh dang, like we're making this happen, like we're making this happen. But then you get right back into it and you're like, fuck, I'm all stressed out just because like you have to figure out a bunch of things. But that's what people don't realize, that entrepreneurs, that it's not you may see like they come up to you, they talk to you, you can talk to them about your brand and how it's doing, like sales, so and so, and that's all they see. But they don't see like the constant hours and hours and hours that people put into the business. But like I said, it's one of the most rewarding things, because you're building something that you created, and it's growing, and then people are knowing about it. People are like putting them on their jet skis. They're buying your covers, and you're just like, what the fuck, And so those feelings are really cool. Like giving people these experiences, it's really fulfilling and satisfying. But at the same time, because there's always that yin to the yang, it's super stressful. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Like it's always like something. Oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do this. Like, oh, let's not forget to order those. Like, because we're running low.
You have to prioritize. And I'm really not a schedule person, but I am learning, because like that is what's required. And I can't bring on an executive assistant, but the day that I can, my life's gonna be so much better.
Yeah, and see, like little things like that people don't realize is when you can do that, when that day comes, because I know it'll come. For an entrepreneur, that's gonna feel like, dang, like, I did that. Like I hired, somebody, and some people wouldn't think that as a victory, but that's a huge victory, that you're able to afford to pay somebody to do that for you. And that just means your company is growing.
Yeah, you're growing, your company's growing, and then you're able then to, because regardless of how you want to think about it, once your company grows and you're hiring somebody, you are now affecting positively the life of that person.
Yeah.
So now your thought of, oh man, I should make a cover, like 5 years later, is now like, I have 10 people whose families I take care of, who I'm affecting their life in a positive way. And as long as you have good like fundamentals and morals and everything, and you hire for the right reasons and all that, then you can have as big of an effect on people's lives as like spirituality, really.
No, and that totally makes sense because I see that in especially the companies that have been doing really well here, like they really take care. They know they're responsible for these people, and then at the same time they also take care of them. A lot of people don't realize that have businesses. Some of them just treat their employees like employees, you know, and if that's the way you run a business, then that's cool. But the ones that have been thriving a lot and continue to thrive a lot more are the ones that treat your employees like they're your family, because at the end of the day, they're kind of like you're responsible for them because you have to pay them. You're like, they eat whether you pay them. Like if the company's not making money, then guess what? Like somebody's not eating.
Yeah, somebody's not, or everybody's at one point just not going to be able to eat because your business is going to fold up. So, yeah, if you look at like Melaleuca, they've been 10 years like best business to work for in Idaho, I believe, and it's not because like they have such a great work atmosphere and whatever. It's because the benefits that you get when you work for them are phenomenal. It's because their pay isn't Idaho's typical, minimum wage is like $8 an hour. We're going to pay them like 10 and that's good money. No, they're like able to pay for you to have a quality of life and be able to afford your life. So the pay, the benefits, and then the way that they treat you when you work at Melaleuca, having worked there, it's like you're part of a team and the team needs you.
Yeah, and they're constantly always doing stuff because I know some people that work over there, they always have events for like just for the employees, like just to appreciate the employees, and then they're even broken down into sections. Like they get benefits for like performing well, and then it comes to individual, like it just nothing but rewards there. They had a whole department because I a while back ago I used to work there part time. Just because I knew there was a bunch of girls there, so I wanted to go work there part time. I just didn't want to do the work part. I just wanted to do the
just hang out,
check out the girls. But they had like a whole reward section, just like based on how you perform, you get points, and then you get rewarded with stuff, and it's just little things like that. So, but honestly, it was a pleasure talking with you. Like I love to see where you were at, because I remember that first podcast, like some of the crazy stories. Like I said, I'm gonna link it down below. Go and check out that podcast, and then because from where you were at to where you're at now, it's huge. It's game changing, and especially for those people that think that they can't, like people who get in trouble, they have like some. And they become a felon and things like that. They think that that's it. Like they can only work the basic jobs that they're only
Stuck
allowed
in
to get
construction or whatever else,
and things like that. They feel like that's it for them, but it's not. And you're a perfect example. You went from being that to getting into trouble. I know you got the felonies because you were stealing the money before, and then from that to having your own business and to actually, because a lot of people have their own business, but a lot of people don't work their full business. You know what I mean? Like it's almost still like a side hustle.
Yeah, like side hustle, side gig kind of deal.
Yeah, and you're full on like all elemental covers now. So it's really cool to see that. And I'm excited to see where you go from here, just because you said it was just recently you're full time elemental covers, and now
Wednesday.
Yeah, and seeing
so
like
4 days ago.
4 days ago, and just to see where the growth goes from here, because I can already see it just the way you talk. You can tell when someone's passionate about something, just the way they talk about it, the way that you have goals about it. A lot of people think, oh, I just hope it grows, and you're like, no, this is what I want to do. This is like how I plan to get there. So it's cool that you have that mindset, and hopefully people listening to this are. They get motivated, because it's cool when I get people who like send like, oh, I listen to this, and they get motivated just because they see it's like, we're just regular people. We're nobody special. Like you've been through some shit. I've been through some shit, and we didn't let that hold us back, and a lot of people let something hold them. Oh, you have kids. Like I've heard single mothers being like, oh, I have kids, or even if they're with somebody, I have kids. It's a little different. Honestly, you could still do it. You just have to prioritize your time. Of course, give your kids time. I'm not saying like take the time away, but you can still make it happen. I was like, I know a lot of these people out here. I'm like, you just told me you binge watched the whole season of so and so. I was like, it's
of Dungeons and Dragons or something.
Trust me, you have some time. Like
Game of Thrones. There you go. Sorry,
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, no, we got 3 kids, and like juggling it between me and my wife now is like we got rid of our nanny. We had a nanny because $35 an hour, you can afford that. Now we can't, so we're just juggling time now. When she works her job, I take the kids, and it's actually pretty cool because now. Like we talked last time about the jet ski that I got for my kids, that now, like when I'm watching them and not working, I can go out there and work with them on that and try to develop skills and stuff with them. And that's going to be really awesome just to have that freedom. But if someone is like looking to expand their business and go from working full time or get out of that comfort bubble that we've been talking about and move into, even if it's not full time, like trying to commit and move into that full time position, read this book, listen to podcasts, read a couple other books. The main thing I would say is you've got to set yourself up for success before you go jump off a cliff.
Yeah.
Like get your parachute on, because it might not go very well. You never know how stuff's going to go. So like this book is like more or less teaching you how to structure your business properly so that when you do make that jump, that you have some kind of safety net at least underneath you, knowing that your business is set up properly for what you want to do before you jumped off of the cliff.
Yeah. Before you even do that. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, because that is like, you do have to be set up properly in order to take that risk. But people are set up properly right now. They're just afraid to take that risk just because they don't. It's unknown. Like, because you could take that risk. Like, I could see great things from you, but like, say another pandemic happens and all of a sudden they shut everything down again, and then guess what happens to businesses? You never know what's going to happen. Like, say something like that happens again. The future is unknown. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. But as long as you're set up properly, everything goes normal again. We don't get another 2020?
Yeah, 2020 when we launched. Yep.
As long as we don't get another 2020, like, you should be good. But let them know where they can follow you and check out your stuff.
Instagram's elemental_covers. Everything else is just elemental covers. Facebook, Twitter. And then if you want to check out our website, it's elemental-covers.com.
There you go. Go and check it out. I'm serious. They do nothing. Like, I've seen like the pictures and videos, nothing but quality products over there. And they continue. Now they have a little bit less expensive. They have the Elemental light covers, just in case, because everyone's budget is differently. If you can't afford the more expensive premium one, they have an alternative. And if you're not into jet skiing, you're gonna get into other covers too. So just stay tuned.
You want a sled cover? Let us know.
Yeah, because you do some custom orders too. So
we do custom stuff.
Yeah, see, if you guys are looking for something, I actually know somebody who might want to get some stuff from you. So I'll be chatting with you. But yeah, thank you for coming on. Seriously, like I'm excited to see where you go, just because just your growth is. It's weird that stuff like this excites me, because I'm like, hell yeah, I can't wait to see where he's at like in a year, just because I like to see the growth. I like to see like people chasing dreams, because it's awesome. So to me, again, thank you for coming on, dude. We're gonna have to chat again. Looking forward to chatting with you in like, I say 6 months. You're gonna be in a whole different level, bro.
I hope so. Appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, no problem. And you guys listening, thank you guys for listening. Catch you guys
Peace. Tú siempre fuiste la coqueta. Dime lo que tú quieres de mi coqueta. Sé lo que te gusta es salir y se suelta. Cuando baila reggae, esto pa' mí que muñeca. Me gusta salir y seducir.